All right, welcome to Daddy Daughter Fodder.
Where conversation meets culture.
When did you add the jingle? That's pretty good.
I know, right? It's
That's
cool
pretty
now.
good.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a cultural connectivity here. We're trying to bridge the gap. And sometimes when we talk about bridging a gap, we're talking about parenting issues. So you had a question come in.
I asked, you guys answered, and the question was, they said that I came across, I being them, they came across my YouTube channel a few years ago. They think back when I was 16, and so they asked, being that young, how did your dad and you navigate the attention from people, both good and bad? How did we navigate that? How are we still navigating that?
Well, I think that we understand people are mean, or people can be mean, or at least how about this? People are very opinionated. We were always very intentional when it comes to social media and when it comes to electronics with you guys. And I know we're probably about to freak a lot of people out as we begin to discuss how you ended up being who and how you are. So when it comes to the YouTube channel, your mother and I were pro that. We saw giftings and we saw abilities, and we always want to promote that. You want to lean into the strengths of your children. I think that's important.
Y'all advocated for that. And I want to point out that I mentioned this before, but me and my sister actually used to have a YouTube channel before I started the one that you're watching this on right now. We used to have a YouTube channel. We used to get together and we used to do dumb stuff, and we would argue and fight all the time, and it was amazing. It was incredible, but we did it. And they were really big advocates for that. And I was surprised because they are not big advocates of social media.
We were not, and we still are not big advocates of social media. However, there are uses for it. In fact, her sister is not on here right now, but she is behind there making all of this magic happen. So hello.
And
anyway,
she's been on my TikTok before, so you've seen Sissy. You love her.
So we did not allow or consciously
encourage
our children to be on social media until after they were 18.
Yes.
I remember we were at, you remember this, we were in a hot tub, we were in a jacuzzi at a timeshare in Florida. And my two daughters are sitting on either side of me. It's myself and them and a lady with her one or two children. Anyway, she had like a 12-year-old child.
Yes.
Or 11-year-old child. And I think you may have been 14 or 15 or 16.
I was 14 at the time, yeah.
And your sister's a little older.
16, she was 16.
We're sitting there having this conversation, and I could hear them fighting about, and finally the lady said, let me ask you something. She said, when did you allow your children to have a cell phone?
Oh, and see, the funny part is because we're significantly older than her kids, and at this point, we didn't have one, so that was the joke.
So they looked over at her and they said, we don't have cell phones. And she looked at her child and went, aha! All of a sudden, she had all of the fodder that she needed to be a responsible parent. Let me just say this, and this is the dad coming out on the inside of me. And if you're young and you're watching this, please just trust me on this one. If you're older and you're watching this, please just trust me on this one. No child needs unfettered access to the internet. There is most adults can't handle unfettered access to the internet. And we think we're going to give that to our 9, 10, 11, and 12-year-old children and not expect them to be hooked on porn and everything else out there. Oh, but my children would never do that. You are out of your ever-loving mind. You know what a 12-year-old boy will do? I were one. He will do anything he can get away with. Dating, that's another topic.
I think that people often discount, because again, I was a product of that. I was 18 when I had social media, and I think people discount the mental health factor. Like right now, people are mean. Literally, the question that you guys are asking is, how did you handle people? How did you handle people that were both mean, that were good? How did you handle that? It was hard. I'm not going to lie. Like even as an 18, 19-year-old, it's hard seeing people constantly have opinions about what you're saying, people constantly throwing negativity your way, people constantly criticizing you, looking for anything bad, taking things out of context to purposefully assassinate your character and make you look like a bad person, especially if you're covering content in the vein that I cover in, which is oftentimes extremely controversial. And that can do such damage to your mental health. I've had to sit back and take breaks. You've had to sit me down and go, hey, it's okay. I was literally, how long ago was I on the couch like crying to you guys because somebody had made a video talking about somebody that I really like, I'm not gonna say idolized, but somebody that I looked up to had made a video talking about me. They didn't know me. They didn't know that I watched them. They didn't know that I liked them, that I'd watch their content. And they were making a video talking about how terrible of a person I was.
She needs a counselor.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to be that counselor, mom, dad,
But that was like what, 2-3 weeks ago? Like,
what was the terminology you used for the gambit of emotions that you?
I give myself emotional whiplash.
Oh, emotional whiplash. And you know, I can't. And think about this. You were how old now?
I'm 19.
Oh, you're not supposed to say your age or your weight on video. Anyway,
Excuse me, almost 20.
yeah, so emotional whiplash, and that's exactly what it is. And then we introduce our children at this very, very early age to everything, and then we try to fortify these systems, social media, against it. We call it cyberbullying and all this. Let me tell you, truthfully, a 12-year-old doesn't need to be cyberbullied because they don't need to be online. Now, I'm just going to throw out another one, and again, I know I'm going to catch this. But when we give them unfettered access to the gaming now that is connected to everybody, it's just another form of social media. It's just another form of relational connectivity. And you say, well, are you advocating that our children not be socialized? No, I think they absolutely need to be socialized, as you were correctly.
Yeah.
But I say it this way. Pooled ignorance or combined ignorance is still ignorance.
Yes.
But that becomes dangerous. That becomes abusive.
Yeah, but people also, again, I think you're discounting the fact that y'all grew up without social media. You grew up without social media. You turned out great. You turned out fine. Maybe. I'm assuming. I don't know. Is there something I don't know? No, but I grew up without social media. I'd like to say that I turned out fine. I think one of the first things that I talked about on TikTok, one of the things that made my platform kind of boost was talking about how you guys raised me, and people were like just shocked at the things that I didn't have, the tactics that you used, and I had question after question after question about what you guys did.
I deal with people regularly that are absolutely overcome by anxiety. And the age of that is getting younger and younger and younger. You're talking about introducing children earlier and earlier and earlier into volatile situations and relationships and those things. I can promise you, if you're a young person or you're a parent, no harm will come to you from not having a horrible confrontational conversation on social media. I promise you will never be injured by not going there. And I know we want to get involved earlier, and you wanted to, right?
I did.
You wanted a cell phone, and you hated me, and you wanted all of the social media.
I talk openly about that, though. Like, you make it seem like I talk openly about how much I hated the way I was raised when I was being raised, but how grateful I am now that I'm done. Like, I'm not done being raised, but like how grateful I am now that I'm on the other side of that.
Okay, let me ask you this, and this is something that I say all the time, but I want an honest answer.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you need me as a father?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you need me more now than you did then, or less?
I think I need you more now, because back then, I'm not gonna lie, I did not like you. Like, no,
I didn't like me either, so that makes two.
No. I just didn't like you. I thought you were out to get me. I couldn't see anything. Like, you'd obviously treated me with nothing but love, but I just didn't like you. And I was a mommy's girl. I loved my mother, and I was always with my mother, and I loved my mom, but I just could not stand my dad. And now I feel like I can appreciate you, and I love you, and I have made the transition from mommy's girl to daddy's girl. And I think that—
So when did that change?
That happened when I was an adult. That happened when I was like, I need my dad, and I appreciate my dad, and I love my dad. And also I just grew up, and some of my friends just didn't have that father figure. And I look at my dad and I go, I love my dad because he's an amazing father figure.
It was a tough time navigating.
It was hard.
Navigating you.
Yeah.
And parents, and even if you're a teen right now and you're going through that 11 to 16, 17 kind of segment of life, it took incredible patience. It took incredible consistency. It took a backbone of steel. The emotional whiplash that you're speaking of. I mean, it was up and down, but the consistency of love. See, because I wasn't aware that you hated me. I mean, so you hit it very well.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
I think
maybe
that's a good thing.
I don't know. Again, I thought that my brain did not comprehend that you were doing good things for me. And I guess it never happens in the moment, but hindsight's always 20/20. Retrospect always looks clearer. And now I can appreciate everything that you did. And the most common question I get asked is, would you raise your kids the same way? Yes. without hesitation, I 100% would. My kids are never getting social media. My kids are not having cell phones. My kids might be able to watch TV.
What about dating? No, we're not going to go there.
No,
we're not going to go there.
That's another episode.
Yeah, that is another one. We're going to try to kick out quite a few on parenting and childing.
Child rearing?
No, childing.
Childing?
So parenting is from this perspective, but we want to connect
okay.
so childing.
What I'm thinking.
Or
yeah.
youthing or teening. Whatever
it was. So if you guys have any questions about what you want answered with that, or if you just want to see us like talk about our childhood, my childhood, and his parentinghood, please comment them. Let me know. DM me on Instagram, all the stuff. Let me know, please. I'd love to help you guys out, and I'd love to share some of the nuggets of knowledge from my past.
We have ran the gambit. There's not a whole lot of topics that we haven't lived. So if we can help. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on Daddy Daughter Fodder, where
conversation meets culture.
see you next time.